Welcome back for another episode of the RADELAIDE Summit Podcast. This week's episode we cover special guest Pat Jonker joins us. Cashy hangs out with Wilson. I've upset my neighbours once again, and of course, much more. Come along for the ride.
The fuck's Wilson?
Ruby opens up. Payment is back. It's time to do the business.
Now, if you're new to the podcast and haven't listened before, each week we scour the Strava leaderboards, watching you do your efforts up Norton Summit and discuss them here on the podcast, whether you like it or not. Now, there's a chance we might shame you, but we promise not to name you personally, and the odds are we'll probably shame ourselves because we're not as fast as you. Look, at the end of the day, our goal is to encourage and celebrate everyone going up Adelaide's best hill climb, Norton Summit, and reaching their own goals. So with that, let's introduce ourselves. We are your summiteers. Alex.
Hello.
Wang. G'day. Catchy.
Ciao.
Pat.
G'day.
And I am the Wang. Twice.
Double
Welcome,
Wang.
guys. Welcome, listeners, to another RADELAIDE Summit podcast.
He's never said he's twice.
I know, isn't it weird that if I don't write it properly, he just fucks it?
I know, right? As always, we need to know what's been happening on or around the summit this week. Alex,
Well,
have you been on the summit?
I have been, I reckon, like at least 4 times this week.
Cool.
That.
A little bit mentally distracted, maybe tired, but I feel like all of my sessions have gone very well because of that. A bit motivated to hurt myself.
Is that because the pressure's off and you're not riding elite now?
No, I'm riding Cat 2.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So now the pressure's off, you're training.
No, that's a different pressure.
Okay.
I did a couple echelon sessions, gym session, the Norton Monty loop Thursday on my own, so solo Greek school.
No Greek school.
Solo Greek school.
Solo Greek school. It was beautiful sunshine Thursday, wasn't it?
Yeah, like this week's weather was supposed to rain all week, and it was good. It was good all week.
Had a bit of a teamy get together yesterday.
Oh yeah, I saw you coming the opposite way. I waved.
Started with Norton, finished with Norton, ended up with flat DR2, so I was doing 130 RPM down the bottom of Monty trying to get...
You of all people.
I know, that's what everyone said. I did get in the garden on a Friday evening, and I was wanting to redo my edge strip for the last million years.
Yep.
Got it mint, happy with it. Last stake I put in the ground, straight through Mo Diggity's boundary wire.
Oh,
He had a fritz out, had to dig holes in my lawn, finish and fix all that up. Poor Mo
you've just fixed Mo Diggity, and now he's gone again.
Mo Diggity's my robot mower. And I messed up his underground wire. And then I set the grass on fire anyway on last night.
I love that.
Or uni student, he came to the rescue with the hose.
Fine.
He did.
We're
I couldn't
all,
imagine him being too helpful.
Playing the tortilla game, and then he's like, the grass is on fire.
What started the fire?
We had a bonfire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had like the pit we had here for the...
Yeah, the fire pit, yeah.
It was there, yeah.
It's always trouble, that pit.
Love it. And then, just massive shout out to my neighbours. They clearly didn't like my music choice at 3 o'clock this morning and called the police.
Which one you reckon it was? The one behind, the old bloke?
I don't know.
It was Darude.
Darude, yeah. He was kicking up a sandstorm.
Might have been cider.
No, he wasn't there.
Yeah, he might have wanted to come home. It was too loud.
And here I am, a little bit
hungover.
A little bit
rusty.
Yeah. What about you, Wayne?
So got in just on 23 hours this week, 820 I think it was, off the top of my head. So Monday through to Thursday was just my usual Zwift sessions. Same on Friday. Then got out in the afternoon with the real Chamois. He's back on the bike.
Yeah, I heard
He's,
Vicious Remy ripped the legs off you.
Yeah, he did. He was going well.
Yeah.
he should get the chop a little bit more often because certainly didn't hurt him going up Anstey's. We pulled like a 7 minute 45 up Anstey. So after he's had a week off the bike, so he's going all right.
He should get a vasectomy more often.
Yeah, no shit. So, and then Saturday just rode down to Chop yesterday, and then had coffee.
Yeah, everyone saw you and everyone rinsed you within
didn't they?
2 seconds.
It's not a surprise. I do it every week, so why are they surprised?
I don't know, actually. Yeah.
Then, we did a Norton, then coffee at Taylor Blend with Cashy and Leo. Then had a little date at the Tower Hotel with uni student.
What was that? We literally thought something was wrong.
No, because I missed him for coffee in the morning because we crossed paths and never actually had a coffee. So I thought, see if he wants to go for a beer.
Wang asked someone for a beer.
Two beers and I was drunk.
I know.
It was anyone's. So then went for a massage and fell asleep on that. And then this morning had a bit of a sleep in. Expected to wake up for it to be raining according to the forecast, but it was nice. So I got out on the road for a couple of hours and then just did a little swift this afternoon to finish the week off. So
you went out and then did a Zwift?
Yeah, just to get in the 800.
Top the kilometres off.
Yeah.
Top it off.
True.
Yeah.
It's been a good week. Was I in Sydney this week? I can't remember. No, not me. Rach was. Hockey.
You went swimming
Did I go swimming?
yesterday.
I did.
It looked like you were on an abandoned island with Wilson.
Yeah, did chop yesterday. It was bloody delightful.
I did hear you were going very well.
Nah.
Yes.
Nah.
Yes.
Didn't win the sprint, so nothing doesn't count.
Pretty wins the sprint because it's just whenever he's in front, it finishes.
So, did that, came home, picked G up, went for a ride along between Henley and Grange.
Oban.
Yeah, so picked,
Linear Park.
No, between Henley and Grange. Just
okay, down
here. You call it a boardwalk? It's not really wooden.
Yeah.
Esplanade, yeah, went for a ride around down there. So I ran next to her. So I think I ran about, a couple of Ks after that. It was good. And then I went in the dip. It was great. She loved it.
Nice afternoon.
Yeah, it was great. And then I went to out for dinner last night. Uni students' recommendation.
And?
It wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. I felt very young there and very... because I'm not of money either.
This is why uni shouldn't recommend it.
I was like,
There's no surprise.
where? There's like coats everywhere and could smell the carrots too. That was good. But overall, really good week. So, what about you, Pat? What did you get up to?
Yeah, got on the bike a few times. I like to do a couple of indoor sessions on full gas. So not really a Swifter, full gas.
I'm not a Zwift either. Yeah. It's fine.
Full gas better.
I just like doing Alpe d'Huez or Galibier, 90 minutes, bang, and then go to work.
Very good. Anything else during the week? So you're back at work?
Yeah, back to the real world.
Yeah,
it's good not being in a real world over in Europe, riding a bike and getting a couple $100 a day to ride. And now I'm back in the real world. So actually, Adelaide's been not too bad. It's been quiet, nice the weather actually in Adelaide. Hopefully, we'll have an early spring and summer will get here. And lots of riding.
You were saying off air you took a bunch of going to be walkers today through the Belair National Park, and they're going to go to the Himalayas very shortly in October.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we spent the morning we were expecting rain as well, right? So we got like a group of 20 people, kind of mountain biking, and then a bit of bike pushing as well as the mountain biking. and we were expecting rain, Bureau and all, and with their fantastic computers, and it was
perfect.
And it was just a beautiful day, beautiful morning. So we did 2.5 hours around Belair National Park. And so great. It's amazing to see how many people are riding off road nowadays. It was quite busy.
Yeah. That's uni student's favourite place to ride, isn't it?
Yeah, can you imagine getting him up the Queen's Jubilee path? Belair National Park? Definitely not. Well, obviously we've got Pat with us on board this week. Thank you very much for coming on. Can you tell us how you obviously found your way onto a bike and then how that went into your cycling and racing career at such a high level?
Yeah, started off in Adelaide in early 1980s. That's a long time ago, isn't it? 1980s.
I was 2.
83, 84.
I wasn't born.
I was just born.
Were you born?
Yeah.
I was 4.
Days of... back then, Adelaide had a really strong cycling scene.
Yeah?
In the in the 1980s, on a Saturday, Sunday, you have the northern suburbs had the club racing, southern suburbs had the club racing, 30-odd riders each area, and... it was fierce, and I think I was really lucky and fortunate to be part of the club racing and state level racing that was at a very high level all over the country in Australia during the early 80s.
Big.
Yeah.
And then that got you like selected or something from there?
Yeah, so there's so much racing going on.
Yeah.
And then I think everything kicked off. We had a juvenile 2-day tour, juvenile kids, 14 years old, 15.
Is that the Centrals one?
Yep, that's
Yeah, good.
You know,
The juvies.
Juvies.
He just got to prison.
Mate, some guns won that race.
Yeah. No, David Solari, Stuart O'Grady, Brett Aitken,
Matt Sparnan.
I
I always wondered. I saw the glint in your eye. I'm like, I bet you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you won it.
Yeah.
I won it. Stewie, Brett, Solari. So and we had riders from Queensland.
Luke Roberts won it.
Luke Roberts,
Yeah.
Olympic champion.
Yeah.
Riders from Victoria would come. So we had juvie racing where people come from interstate.
Yeah, it was a massive
That's cool.
event, that was. So it was probably one of the biggest juvenile events in Australia.
Yeah, it's funny
That
where
one.
we don't have that anymore. And then I won the senior 2-day tour. Because it's a 2-day tour, Saturday. Like 2-day tour with like 6 stages.
Yeah. Just correct.
Yeah.
Super serious.
Savage.
Great.
Yeah, like 3 stages. Like a morning criterium around Victoria Square.
Yeah.
Then a stage up to Mount Lofty.
Yeah.
Have a quick like rice cream.
Yeah.
As much rice cream as you can have.
Yeah.
And then bang right from Mount Lofty all around Williamstown and finish in northern suburbs. Like 3 stages in a day.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
middle of
amazing.
winter. It's crazy stuff.
Williamstown used to be the go-to for most races, wasn't it? State titles were at Williamstown. So much was out there.
Remember that Mount Pleasant? I know it's kind of not, but in Mount Pleasant, the race that used to go out there, that was a cracker.
I reckon Nationals were at Williamstown one year, weren't they? Finished
One
up
Tree Hill.
One Tree, finished up the climb.
Yeah, so I think for a lot of the riders in the 80s, we had an abundance of quality racing on open roads where there's hardly any traffic. See, today,
It's too much
there's
traffic.
much traffic, isn't there? You got to remember that long ago, we were riding on these roads. We had like one police officer at the front. There was no traffic.
Yeah.
So we had pretty much had the whole road the whole day. We even raced once from Adelaide to Victor Harbour.
Yeah.
Can you imagine riding?
You do that every Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and we get abused the shit out of.
That's true.
So, and that kind of got everything going because I got some results.
Yep.
I won all of those races, and then got me get selected to go to the World Championships in Italy
Yep.
as a junior, as 17-year-old. Which, by the way, you had to pay your own way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's gone full circle.
It's funny the way it goes in waves. Like, yeah.
No,
It's back like that now.
So you get selected, make national team, you go,
how
World
sick's
Championships, and then Cycling Australian going, you got to pay you. So I worked in the bike shop a bit, got some money together.
There was no GoFundMe pages back then.
No OnlyFans, no GoFundMe. It would have been much easier.
You just got to
100%.
fax over something. Do a sausage sizzle. Yeah.
A good fact, facts. No, back then in the 80s, so World Championship. And then, but back then there was no Australian Institute of Sport, so it was...
Yeah, what was it?
Yeah, it was. I was the generation that had to like work in a bike shop and then pay your way to Europe, which back then was actually when you look at it, back then it was $1,200 a return ticket, but that was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
And then you make your way to Europe and Paris, where Alan Piper, Phil Anderson, Greg LeMond, I think all of them started their cycling careers over there.
Yep.
And I was there with some Aussies, Dean MacDonald.
Okay.
It's kind of Peter Montesi was a really good
Yeah,
friend of
Monty.
mine.
Yep.
And
Legend.
together. Before that was like Craig Bedome was there, Peter Rowe. So they're all the riders from the 80s that were living in Paris on $20 a week and trying to make it as a pro.
Yeah, right.
We pretty much all... We all got smashed, to be really honest.
How long did that that high level racing in years career go for? How long?
Yeah, so I got noticed. What happened is the Australian Institute of Sport was put together a road team. We had Charlie, right?
Yep.
Charlie's
On the track.
Institute track
Yep.
program, and then they had a road program. I was just fortunate enough to get selected for that in 1991.
So was that with Heiko?
Yep.
Heiko? Yep.
Yeah, with the East German coach Heiko Salzwedel.
Yep.
May he rest in peace. So I was kind of fortunate enough because we were in Paris racing, trying to become pro. It was really almost impossible because the Berlin Wall came down and all these Russians and East Germans and Czechoslovakians and Polacks all trying to do the same thing. So it was kind of an unfortunate time to try and turn pro when the Berlin Wall's down and you got all these
Hitters.
monsters of athletes just chewing up. And I then made my way through the Australian Institute of Sport just by luck and got into the Olympic team, or earned my way into the Olympic team by winning the National Road Series.
Yep.
We had
Okay. Yep.
And this was a lot of races back then. Commonwealth Bank Classic.
Yeah, that was a cracker of a race, wasn't it?
Yeah. In a
love
way,
that.
it seems when you talk 30 years ago, the Australian cycling was in a better place.
Even 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, than today.
Yeah.
Unfortunate today we don't have those races that we competed in.
The big teams used to come over for the Commonwealth Bank Classic, like the Bosch team and these guys. Like,
Yeah, so, all those races, so, we're talking Jan Ulrich was there, Eric Zabel was there, Luke Trock, the world champion, the list of riders go.
Servais Canavan.
Yep,
Yeah.
Giovanni
Yeah.
Lombardi.
Yeah. I think Canavan won it maybe once or twice overall.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the abundance of racing in this country, and then the Australian Institute of Sport ultimately was a pathway into the pros, because then you go to Olympic Games.
Yeah.
And then the big races around Europe, like Milk Race, and the races in Germany.
Yep.
And you need to win a few races, show yourself towards the pro teams, and you get like a stagiaire opportunity.
Yeah.
So they give you 4 weeks to prove yourself. Like, crazy.
Sink or swim.
Yeah.
Yeah, sink or swim.
Yeah.
And I just had a good day in the Tour of Catalonia, and then got a pro contract. So in a way, it seems like it's almost like 10 years of hard work. Yeah, it's 10 years. From the age of 14, juvenile, to actually turning pro was, 8-9 years of doing, well, not going to school much. No. So I left, most of us, like myself, Stuart O'Grady, the boys,
Yeah, back in that era, it was pretty much everyone would just leave school.
Yeah, we all left school at 15,
10.
16.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, just the schools. Actually, my school covered for me. They just still passed me because they were so excited I was doing well. So my school, Wirianda High School, give Wirianda a plug, because the teachers covered for me. They passed me my grades and they encouraged me to train, and they named the gym after me. And I never went to school much.
That's epic.
I'm just on that. So you've got a gym named after you. You've got a bike.
You got a bike path?
Yeah,
What
bike
else?
path.
Anything else?
No.
I mean, that's pretty good. Like,
So first pro team was Onse?
Actually, was the Dutch one, which Peter Post was the director, was Nova Mail, which was Panasonic.
Yep.
The Panasonic team, which was Alan Piper, Phil Anderson.
Yeah.
And then Panasonic sponsorship changed. And then that was the first team.
Yep.
93. Well, I rode in 92, but 93, 94.
Yep. Okay.
Those are the days of still some downward shifters, a few downward shifters.
Yeah, okay.
And Sean Kelly still had toe clips.
Jesus.
Toe
wild.
clips. Rock racing with toe clips.
Far out.
Insane.
That's gold. All right, so that's a pretty hefty start to the career. So what are you up to these days?
Well, I still go to France every year.
Yep.
It's nothing but, no, you're getting older. And I go to Tour de France each year, but then I take guests. I work for bikestylettours.com. So listeners want to go for a Tour de France experience. Each year we have groups of between a dozen to 20 odd people that want to see the Tour de France. I think the Tour de France, comparison to my time, it's now really a global event. I was really, this year, was amazing to see how many spectators. It's like sometimes it's just 10 deep.
You see that on the coverage.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't see.
The sport's growing and growing, which is good for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
But between the early 90s, Tour de France, and now, it's absolute global sporting,
That's cool to hear from your perspective.
Yeah, you can notice it's the biggest annual sporting event on the planet for sure. Like some days there are like, some of the climbs are maybe 300,000 spectators on a mountain. Like the cops, the police, the gendarme have to just close off the mountain because there's too many people.
What's the reaction you get from the people you take over there? Like,
when
they see them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been watching Tour de France on, not on GCN anymore, on SBS, and or on TV or streaming, whatever, or on Netflix, whatever. So they're watching the Tour de France. What I tell people, go there and have a look what the race is really all about, because you really get blown away about what happens behind the scenes. It's not just a bike race. It's this whole show, this circus behind the scenes of the actual race that's really extraordinary. You know, when you're there and there's like 4 helicopters and there's like above the helicopters is a plane that follows the whole Tour de France, and there's 2 planes that follow the whole Tour de France constantly. And that's where the satellite images go from motorbike, helicopter, plane, satellite. It's really...
I didn't know about the planes, actually.
Yeah, there's an actual plane that is... Imagine, it'd be a pretty boring job, though.
Yeah.
Far out.
But the Tour de France is just growing in popularity. Europeans still love it. And it's great to see, the Aussies up there amongst it, which in my day, if we finish top 10 in the stage, that's like a victory.
Yep.
I think still, to your point, I think these days, a lot of teams need the UCI points these days, right? So, top 10s are like big money still, right?
Yeah, that's changed as well. Today, the riders are all paid a lot more than we were paid. And my first Tour de France, you had a $30,000 contract. And that's a really, $30,000. It was like, wow. And now they're earning $30,000 a week or a fortnight or a month.
Yeah. Not to mention their bonuses, right?
Yeah. The guys are looked after really well now.
Yeah.
I reckon Poggy's pretty comfortable. What was the value of that watch that he was wearing?
Which one?
Yeah.
He's got numerous.
Yeah.
But do you do the bike style tours or anything else you do?
Yeah, so the bike style tours we do we take people to Tour of Italy, Tour de France, and at the moment I'm not there, but we have a small group doing the Tour of Spain where they're it's apparently a heat wave.
Yeah, it's hot over there.
Yeah, it's a heat wave in Spain at the moment, and we have bike style tours have a group there, and they're enjoying the 46-degree temperatures in Spain at the moment. And the riders are actually complaining a bit, but it's a hard one, isn't it? Should we have a rule in cycling that we shorten stages because of the heat or the cold? It's a hard one.
Did we?
Well, they do it because of the cold, so...
Did they shorten the stage at one of the Tour Down Unders?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they did one year. Or a couple of years ago, I reckon that was.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't help the rest of us that were riding out there to watch it either.
No.
Riding back again.
Yeah, you have one beer afterwards, you're like...
So, with the bike style tours, what's the average cost for a person to go on one of those tours?
We're the more affordable one.
Yep.
So the premium one is, I won't name our opposition, but Stuart O'Grady. Stewie's got the premium one.
Yeah.
He gets the people that have got a bit of coin.
Yeah.
And I get the working class people. It's nothing strange. Well, he won more races than me, so that's how it works in this world.
Yeah.
So Stewie's got the premium, like 5-star.
Yeah.
And I got the people that come with me are the guys on Strava.
Yeah.
And they say, come and pace me up a mountain, and let's do a good Strava time. I want to get into my age group.
Yeah.
And we try and make the top 500 for the day.
Some serious business, hey?
It is. I have to be fit. I'm getting older. And it's taking longer to get to that level. I can't do a sub... I used to be able to do a sub 50-minute Alpe d'Huez, no problem. But not anymore, mate. Once you get to 50, it's downhill.
So what's the secret? Do you have a secret formula?
Oh, well, so what a 55-year-old does is talks to people who are 65. And then say, hey, what's the secret? And I speak to Danny Clark. Danny Clark is a legend of Australian cycling. He's 70.
Yeah.
And I say, what's the secret? He said, mate, you just got to keep those legs moving. Don't stop. If you stop for 4 or 5 months, you'll never get back. Yeah. So you've got to try and keep those legs moving so that when you're in your 50s, then you get to your 60s.
Yeah.
And then after that, I don't
know. I'm in my 40s now, so I need
you got plenty of time.
I need to ask you what to do.
Yeah, don't stop.
Yeah.
Speaking of your tours, I was given a little bit of an insight. Back in 2015, climbing one of the big mountains, apparently there was a young lady by the name of Leeson that gave you a bit of a serve up the hill.
Yeah, so we get all sorts of people on bikestyletools.com, and I saw this 6-foot lady from Melbourne, Listen, Hotkins. Yeah. Hi, Listen, how you doing? And she looked like an athletic, 6 foot tall, really lean, like a runner or something like that. Yeah. And, how you going? I'm a doctor, she said. Listen, and, what do you do? She said, anaesthetist. So, that's not good for cycling when we're a hematologist, really. It's a shame. So being a doctor and anesthetist, I didn't think she had much time to train, and she didn't have much time to train, but she really wanted to push herself. So we started in the Pyrenees on Luzardi-Dan. We pushed hard. So for me, pushing hard is doing 350 watts on a climb for about 50 minutes, and I couldn't drop her.
What?
So I thought I was sick or something.
That's
I thought it must be sick because it's never happened that I go to a tour in France and I'm doing 350 watts. I'm pushing hard.
Yeah.
I'm pissing sweat. I'm not hurting completely, but I'm sort of in the box.
Yeah, you're in
and
the
there's a
box,
girl or lady.
yeah.
And she's on my wheel, and I couldn't drop her. And then we went to Alpe d'Huez, and I said to her, "Oh, you know what?
You can get on the front.
I didn't compliment her too much. You don't want to give people confidence, too much confidence. I said, you're going okay. We should have a nudge of, And the Strava time, I don't know who had the Strava record, but back then we went full gas up Alpe d'Huez with a customer who was a cycling tourist. So no cycling experience, never raced, just a tourist. And we're not far off the Strava KOM, which is professional women.
Yep.
Obviously, we're on it.
Yep.
And I think we were sub 50 minutes. So 49 minutes to go up Alpe d'Huez, which is very, really good. So
Yeah,
she was
that's
like
really
top 10 Strava overall women. And I never, ever experienced anyone holding my wheel when I'm going full gas, especially not, well, I have experienced Pantani and Ulrich. But a customer, I'm talking a cycle tourist, holding my wheel, and held my wheel. Yeah. And done a phenomenal time, and I straight away messaged Donna Ray Zelinsky, who's the women's national coach. Yeah. Said, hi, Donna. I'm in France. I just went up Alpe d'Huez in under 50 minutes, and this girl followed me, this lady. You need to sign her up. And then she did. And because, when I talk to a coach and say someone's a phenomenal athlete, so she's extremely gifted, can endure and suffer a lot of pain. Lycian can hurt and suffer and die on a bike, and then she obviously has some genetic gift as well. And she was a shame she was already in her 30s.
Yeah, okay.
She could have potentially been a superstar of the sport.
And she's still riding now?
I think.
Sure. So this was handed to me from Dean Bottrell. He's asking me about it.
Yeah. So Incredible's never experienced anything, and then she went on to race for the Australian national team.
Yep.
Wow.
Represented Australia. Went to the Tour of Italy. Did amazing things. And thankfully for Donna Ray for giving her an opportunity. But it's not often you see somebody just come out and doing extraordinary things. But in today's world of science, you can just simply look at watts per kilo and go, well, you can be world class.
You've got it. Yeah.
Good. Speaking of world class, do you know what your fastest time ever was?
Yeah, we talk about that often. Like back in the day, like I speak to Alan Gill every week, and back in the days of Stuart O'Grady, Brett Aitken, Dean Woods, some world-class track riders, we did a lot of efforts on Norton Summit because Charlie Walsh used to make the track team do 4 or 5 efforts, strength endurance, and sometimes we were full gas. We never really recorded it, and also we went to the top of the Norton Summit. But definitely it would be, we'd be definitely holding, over 450 watts. It would be like around sub 12.
Sub 12.
Yeah, sub 12. I mean, if you asked Stuart O'Grady or Brett Aitken, we'd all be, we really regret we didn't have that kind of
technology.
Yeah, same as Wollonga Hill and all that.
Yeah,
but not as quick as the records today. I mean, that's just what they're doing today. The sport has really changed. It's faster than it's ever been.
That's cool.
Awesome.
What about, you've had a great career. You're doing some pretty cool things outside of, I guess, your career as well. What would be the greatest life achievement or greatest day on the bike? Or
there's a few, definitely. I think in the professional cycling world, obviously winning Tour Down Under is special, but amongst the director sportifs and elite riders, being in the Tour de France and having Miguel Indurain start a minute and a half behind you on a 75-kilometre time trial and not being caught So, because Miguel Indurain is
Big Meg.
Big Mig.
Yeah.
So he won the Tour de France 5 times. He's Olympic champion, world champion. He had a resting heart rate of 26 beats a minute. So his cardiovascular system is that of a racehorse. He could race Melbourne Cup and win.
Massive VO2.
Yeah, massive VO2.
The Zwift.
Yeah.
The Zwift workout.
Zwift, yeah.
They did the Big Mig. They did this pace partner. If you follow him, like it was his. What was it?
It was the pace that he held for the hour record.
Yeah.
It was like 6.2 watts for an hour
Quite
he had to hold. So
So
didn't catch him.
because Big Meg caught nearly everybody in his career.
Yeah.
So if you were in a Tour de France individual time trial, back in those days, they're a lot shorter today.
Yeah,
We used to have to do 75-kilometre individual time trials.
that's just ridiculous.
And all we did is have a little bit in like that
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
dehydration. And Big Mig was behind me. It was the last time trial, and he was
Yeah.
angry because his tour didn't go well. And he had me in his sights, and all the director sportif was going, Big Mig's coming, he's coming, and he never caught me. So having Miguel Indurain start behind you and not catch you, not many people have ever done that in the history
That's
of cycling.
amazing.
Yeah.
Because he was like the equivalent of what Ganna is now,
Yep.
really, in a TT.
Yeah, having Philippe
Yeah.
Pagana start
Yeah.
behind you
Yeah.
in a TT and then not catch you with only
Cheating
like
yourself.
90 seconds
Yeah.
buffer.
That's
That's
awesome.
That is
ridiculous.
epic.
You have to ride like you stole it.
And what was your highest placing overall in the tour?
12th. So
12th.
overall, 12th. I was a couple of times around 30th. My dream was to be in a top 10.
Yep.
But it was during a little bit of the dark ages of the sport. I'd say that the 90s were kind of like the dark ages where,
Yep.
unfortunately, some of the results were influenced by performance-enhancing drugs. EPO came in, and that kind of spoilt the sport for a while, I'd say. But 12th. But it was a great experience riding with people like Greg LeMond and Gianni Bugno, Phil Anderson. So I was the only actually Aussie. Not many Aussies rode the Tour de France with Phil Anderson. I think Phil Anderson for a lot of Aussie pros is kind of like someone I always looked up to.
Still going well, is Phil as well.
Yeah.
Still killing it.
in his 60s now.
Yeah.
So but the Tour de France still had a lot of fond memories.
Yeah. Who won it that year? The year he got 12th.
Miguel and I were battling out for around top 10.
Yep.
And Bjarne Riis.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So that was
Just
probably
a small
probably a
name.
little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah, and it was Jan Ulrich, Bjarne, and then Pantani and Varanka.
So again, very
there's-
small
there's
names.
those
Yeah,
four. Those four were
Yeah,
probably a
no.
bit tarnished. Those four names.
It is.
You know
I
what,
should move
though?
up to maybe 8.
I call absolute bullshit on the whole elite sport in general because cycling cops such a bad rap.
It did.
Weightlifting had this. This is the thing that cracks me. I love weightlifting. Love watching it. They have to change the weight classes every time because people are doped up that much and they get done. And then all the athletics as well. The same thing. Oh, we'll just cancel the records. But it's okay that I'm done with it. I'm like those guys.
We got a bad rap.
It is
for a
what it
while.
is, right?
Yeah.
Like
the whole sporting world was tainted for a period of 15 years.
100%.
The sporting world, and you look at the world records, there's a lot of darkness. But now it's the sporting world's a much better place today.
Yeah.
Did you get much exposure to the EPO and that, obviously, when you were pro?
Oh, absolutely. There was talk about it every day. That's what everyone talked about.
Yep.
Everyone was talking about, people's hematocrit and hemoglobin, and people with a very high hematocrit were kind of like doomed a bit in a way because the lower your hematocrit,
The better the improvement you could have,
yeah, that was the real thing. Yeah. In a way, my natural hematocrit is 48%. In a way, I wish it was 38%.
Yeah.
But you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, not too many people will forget the Festina saga and all of that. So that happened when raided all them.
But even like not too long ago, like Bahrain had a massive raid on their stuff, and
Yeah, well, ironically, they haven't really gone any good since then, have they?
no, I did. No, you know what? I'm not even going to get. I heard from a very reliable source at that time that was in the pro peloton about what was happening, and if you remember, the guy from Bahrain, the Italian guy.
The Paris-Bay winner.
Yeah. He won those, and
then never rode again.
yeah, and that same year he was with I don't know if it was the Dauphiné or it was like something like really massive climbs, and he was with the climbing group, and it's like what?
And then he almost died.
Yeah, and then he almost died. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. So
that's some pretty cool
I'd say
stuff.
the sport is in a good spot at the moment. Yeah,
definitely.
the sport's in the best. Yeah.
you're always going to have your skeptics out there though. Like
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I hear that because I go to the tour and I have all these tourists, and there's a lot of skeptics. But I think a lot of the professionals will tell you, it's never been as clean as it is today. But people are trying to explain how do you explain Bodjagar.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. You know what? I've said this to Alex heaps of times as well. Like it does. I don't even care. Like it's like with all the sport. Like Olympics is like. I don't care. It's cool. He puts on a good show. He's a
don't worry,
freak.
the drug testers are out there doing absolute, because for them it's a trophy. So the World Anti-Doping Association does an amazing job. So they love to catch people, and all they do is spend their whole life trying
to catch them.
Yeah, catching people. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the most tested person in the world. So.
But now today's testing is a lot different than it was. The testing today is state of the art.
That's cool.
Which wasn't
before.
What about these days? What bike are you riding? What group set?
Yeah.
Talk us through what you...
Oh, made the bikes nowadays.
Not a Euro frame?
Cervelo. Yeah,
Nice.
Cervelo Aspero. And I put a road group set on it because as I'm getting older, I'm not as flexible. So S5 is too I'm not into
too
the
harsh.
aero
Good luck.
bikes.
It's a good time.
Me either. I'm too old.
Yeah. So I like a more relaxed position on the bike, and because I do a lot of touring with tourists and that around Europe and that.
Yeah.
So the Cervelo does the job, and
sick.
I got Campag wheels. I just love the Campag wheels.
Yeah.
The Campag wheels are really good, underrated wheels. And then I got myself a disc brake group set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Campag group set?
Yeah. I know. I mean, the future.
Love that.
I'm still old school.
And
Is it the electric Campag?
No.
Not the EPS, no.
Yeah, I don't trust them that much.
Is that? Did you have a favourite bike, or is that your?
I think through all the years of racing, I'd say the Colnago C40 back in the day. The Colnago was really an amazing racing machine. Ernesto Colnago built some amazing weapons, and its ability to descend at high speed. So for us, when you're racing, really how a bike tracks when you're doing 60, 70, 80 kilometers an hour, because you've got to remember back in our day, we didn't have a helmet. We never wore helmets. Because that'd be silly to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
So we're going down the mountains at the Tour de France with the hat backwards.
So good,
100
though.
k's an hour.
Yeah, doing 80, 90 Ks in the wet. And we thought the Colnago tracked the best. And a lot of the guys would say that, the Colnago was really railed it down the descents and kept us from dying.
Yeah. Do you still have any of your race bikes?
I wish I did. I wish I did. It's one of the big regrets because they're worth a lot of money now. I saw one on eBay.
Really?
Yeah, because I was on eBay and someone sent a screenshot, and some of the bikes I rode are like 12,000 US.
Jesus.
And their bikes I sold for 2,000 Australian.
Yeah.
And in America, retro bikes are a real big thing.
Yep.
And the looks we used
the
at the
looks,
Tour de
yeah.
France, because
Yeah.
it was limited edition, would go well over 10,000 US.
Yeah.
Even more.
They were the KG carbon ones back in the day. Yep.
How good. Go on, Wang. You love it. Love the topic. Let's talk food.
Yes, breakfast.
Let's talk
So then and now, were you a breakfast eater when racing back in the day? If so, what was the go-to, and how about these days?
Yeah, so back in the day, absolutely. In the old days, we all had a big breakfast because the nutritionists and dietitians said it was very, very important, most important meal of the day. And then today we don't.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah.
So back in the day, big plates of pasta and
Same as Solari last week.
Yeah, the hardest part of a Tour de France is 3 weeks of racing, and after 10 days your stomach shrinks and it's force feeding. So you have to force feed yourself a plate of pasta, omelette, pancakes, bread, and you sit
carbs.
there for an hour and a half just putting the food down,
Yeah.
shoveling the
Do you ever,
food.
I know it's a bit gross, but do you ever throw up, like trying to force feed yourself?
Almost.
Almost? Yeah,
Almost, because
yeah,
you're
yeah.
force feeding yourself.
Yeah.
And you kind of, eating so much that the first 3 hours of the stage, that's why we never really attacked much in the beginning, because we were
going to vomit.
Well, the stages back then were 280 kilometres.
Yeah.
In the old days, we raced close to 300 kilometres. Like in the first 5 days of the 94 Tour de France, I think we did like 1,400 kilometres in the first 6 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the first 6 days, 1,400 kilometres of racing.
It's so funny when all the correlate, like the years gone by, and they're like, oh, this and this, but that one sort of never really gets spoken about. Hey, the actual distances.
Massive.
The Tour de
Yeah.
France in the early days was, the stages were a lot longer than they were today. And they've shortened the stages to make it more exciting, because we often did 290 kilometres, 280 kilometres. The longest day I had was to Pamplona. It was 285 kilometres and 6,000 metres almost of climbing, like 5,500 metres of climbing. And we started at 9 a.m. and we finished at 5 p.m. So
But then back at those days, the first 200K would be, pretty much a procession, wouldn't it? And then the race would start after that.
people were so tired that
Yeah.
it did blow up halfway, because people were just so fatigued and
Yeah.
mentally broken, and it was a hot day.
Yeah.
But today the racing's more dynamic. I think in the old days, and in particular the 70s, it was more almost like a pilgrimage,
Yeah.
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 reflecting what the Tour de France was meant to be from 80 years ago.
Yeah.
But that's all changed.
So nutrition on the bike back those days, did you used to eat much on the bike?
You're talking probably not enough.
Yep.
So you're comparing the old days and today, and then I speak to Phil Anderson a lot. I said, how did you do, the Tour de France back then was nearly 4,000 kilometres, and you hardly drank. You had these little pissy little bitters, a couple of bananas, and some rice cakes, which, some bakery in Belgium made, special rice cakes with some jam. And he said, yeah, we're right. We were pretty much, all of us are dehydrated and hunger flat. And, and because everybody was, and nobody dialed the nutrition.
Yeah. Everybody's on the level playing
Except for
field.
Nino with the sugar cubes.
Yeah, sugar cubes. Yeah, I used to have sugar in your tea.
Yeah.
So you put tea, lemon, and a heap of sugar or honey.
Yeah.
And then when that spills over you, it's really bad. The nutrition back then is Spartan, rice cakes, or like rice pudding, but then it's baked to make it a little bit hard. And we didn't have specialised nutrition in the day that they do have now, and I think that reflects in the maintaining that wattage and power they do.
And the speeds.
How they physically look at the end of the tour.
Yes.
You just see.
Yes, so when I finished the Tour de France stage in 1994, I'd curl up in a ball. I'd be like throwing up. There'd be some blood in my urine because of my dehydration.
Yeah.
I'll be on bed in a fetal position.
Yeah.
And here today, they look...
Podcasts giving everyone high fives.
Yeah. We would ride ourselves almost to death in a day because we didn't know better, all dehydrated. And today they look fresh, don't they? We look like... We'd be like 24-year-old looking like a 54-year-old. You would have you have these guys who are 24 years old, full of wrinkles.
Yeah.
And because we just hammered ourselves. But didn't know any better. So a lot has changed. Everything has changed in the nutrition.
For the better.
So what do you eat for breakfast these days?
I could like to have a nice black coffee, and then I put some coconut oil in it, and then start my day most days really without having breakfast, and then get on the indoor trainer and do some full gas. Just to keep the engine going, and a good way to, especially when you get older, because your metabolism slows down. So today, no breakfast, and then after your training, you'll have a protein shake. So low carb, hardly any carbs, and
Secret.
and then high protein, and I think that helps. So they're definitely the opposite to what we were taught by nutritionists 30 years ago. And I think nutritionists as well, they're learning as well. But
No, definitely.
Go on. You've got it.
You have a favourite
your
cheat
food.
meal?
Yeah, we all. So at the end of the Tour de France, so you're absolutely, that's all you're looking forward to
Yeah, yeah.
is
Yeah.
shit food. It's the worst possible food you can have. Like, obviously, the greasy food. I think you really, you just want to have as greasy as possible. It'll be like fish and chips or
Chips.
hamburger, beer, lots of beer, hamburger, fish and chips, a couple of Magnums, and ice cream. And then
Yeah.
because your body's not used to it, because you've been living on this diet for a long time, you do, then almost throw it up again an hour later. But definitely most of us are just into the, because we were taught actually that greasy food, high-fat food was bad back then.
Yep.
And then now we're realising that if you have good fats, it's actually beneficial, which we didn't know. But, after Tour de France or after Olympic road race, we'll definitely get into hamburgers, pizza, Magnums, ice cream, and then mix it with beer.
Diet.
Yeah.
Everyday diet.
Yeah.
So thinking back into those race days, obviously was much different, like you say, to today. Was there anything memorable, bizarre that stood out in a race back then?
Yeah, we had some characters, definitely in the cycling in the early 90s, and we had people that started when they were suffering. The Spanish guy, I don't know, I can't remember his name. He just started singing sometime. He started. Had a song when he started to suffer. He started to sing. Guys, I don't know if it's going the wrong way, just not paying attention, and I think we did have a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
Back in those days, I think today the stress levels for the riders is it's a big business today, and maybe in the early days, we would have a can of beer during the race. We'll be going through a tunnel, and then someone like his name is Sean Kelly. So you're in a tunnel, and he'll have a can of Coke, and then he'll put it on the asphalt. And you should try that in a peloton of 120 people. And then you get a can, and you just lean over on the asphalt and scrape it on the asphalt as you're going through a tunnel at 80k an hour.
Yeah.
It scares
the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. And there were characters. Look, it was like lawless sometimes. Like we have like rules and regulations. If you have a pee, you got to go to the side of the peloton and pee on your bike. And, Sean would just pee in the middle of the peloton.
Well, that's pretty much. So, okay. I was going to say funniest moment, but that's pretty funny. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, well, unless you're not watching. And
Yeah, it's true.
Wow.
But I think there were more messing around, when it was possible during the earlier days. So there were, some beers passing around or ice cream, and which is today, you don't see that today, do you? Really, that's real. Yeah.
No, it's
I love that.
not
So
serious.
I think you've touched on some really good teammate stuff. What about location? If you were to have like a dream race somewhere, where would it be, and why?
Yeah, normally I'd say, like, most of my life, I would have said, I really enjoy, Switzerland for its beauty. But for the last 15 years, we've been riding our bikes through the Himalayas, and there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff going on in races and events in the Himalayas.
Really?
So people will go east to west and west to east, and so riding the Himalayas, but obviously on a gravel bike, mountain bike. But we're going there in October with 20 people from Adelaide, and I think a lot of people are getting into adventure riding, right? Like it's getting so busy on the roads and the traffic, and people getting fed up with cars. So it's the mountain bikes, gravel. So each year we take a group of 15, 20 people and ride through the Himalayas. That's different. But I think in the future you'll be seeing gravel rides through the Himalayas.
That's cool.
That's super cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, love that.
One piece of advice that you maybe received really early on in your career that stuck with you today.
Yeah. Like when I was really young, I raced with a guy named, I was 19, 20, under 23. I was actually same age as Axel Merckx.
Yep.
Axel's a good friend. He lives in Canada now. His dad was a pretty good bike rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, his dad is Eddie Merckx, and then
Edward.
so I know Eddie, through the years because Eddie, being Axel's dad, was always at the races, and then and I never really understood what he meant until it was too late. But like we were in 2021, and then he would talk to Axel and some of the young riders, and to understand that that the cycling and particularly the multi-day races, it's like 70% is mental. And then obviously you need to be gifted, right? He understood you have to have the gift, but most people defeat themselves because they mentally defeat themselves.
Yep.
So if you can mentally get over all your insecurities and grow mentally, you can really push yourself far further than you ever thought. So Eddie Merckx, and not just Eddie Merckx, but pretty much it was Peter Post as well. It says your biggest adversary in your whole career is going to be self-doubt and lack of confidence. And you see that a lot of the confident athletes get, if you're pessimistic and by nature you're not going to get anywhere, you really need to have some kind of inner confidence, which you don't really have when you're 20. Yeah, something that grows. It took me until I was 30s to understand all this. And then I really had some big results. But in the beginning, I was the same. I had self-doubt, lack confidence. But yeah, if I at an early age had understood what Eddie Merckx meant, because I didn't really understand, is that, and it's true, it's a bit like, it's a bit corny, isn't it? But yeah, your biggest adversary is always going to be yourself. Can you imagine if you switched off your brain and it was just your lungs and heart working?
Yeah.
And your brain was switched off, what you could do in life?
Yep.
As an athlete,
Just in general, yeah.
I was gonna say in general. Yeah, good call.
yeah, if you could. So what Eddie Merckx is saying is, you got heart, lungs, and it says the brain is a faulty organ. The brain is a problem, and the brain is actually not helping you most of the time. So if you can change all that, and for me it was hanging around optimistic people,
like-minded people.
Yeah, funny people. Yeah, you got to my favorite rider was Jens Voigt because he's always
Yeah, he's a funny bastard.
He's funny, yeah. So surround yourself with funny people, optimistic, funny people, and stay away from pessimistic people, who are negative, pessimistic people. So in sport, you'll find that the successful operators they just focus on certain people and hang around those people.
I like
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I told her, how can you soar like an eagle when you're surrounded by turkeys?
That's right, but you just don't understand it, until it's too late.
I like that one. just worded a little bit different. What about pre-race rituals or superstitions? Any wood in the helmet or anything like that? Like, do you have anything like that?
Yeah, a lot of the guys were superstitious. I mean. There were some riders, they thought that, if they had a really big, good day on the bike, they wouldn't wash the jersey or the nicks. So they'll go, yeah, there were some people like that, and that's completely wrong.
Completely wrong.
I mean, look, if they might want to start a kombucha company or something, I don't know.
Yeah, and you can, our team provided us of racing with really expensive aftershave. So, we were a group of guys that had really expensive aftershave just in case you land in hospital.
Yeah.
You're
good.
smelling good.
for the
I love that.
You're smelling good for the nurses because they have to undress you and that, and at least you smell good.
Yeah.
Because you're unconscious. But there were some people that it was true though in the early days that there were people that wouldn't wash the nicks and jersey for a while because they thought they were they're on a roll. But there are definitely a lot of superstitious athletes out there. Being Australian and hanging around Aussies, I think Aussies are less superstitious than Italians, French.
Yeah.
Aussies are more down to earth, aren't we? Really,
I think so.
we're like a lot of times.
bit more laid back.
Yeah.
Just whatever.
That's cool.
What's the strangest or most unexpected skill that you developed as a cyclist?
Oh, part of your bike handling skills, you really learn how to ride a bike at the Tour. Look, to be honest, the first Tour de France, the first descent, you're absolutely terrified. You didn't realise people could go so fast on a bicycle down a hill. And I had ridden Olympics a few times and did some big races. Then you go to Tour de France and it is life and death experience.
It's another level.
Yeah, absolutely another level. They just don't care if they live or die. And, well, unfortunately, people did die.
People did die, yeah.
Yeah, Fabio Casatelli died,
yeah.
unfortunately. And there was some real serious accidents back then. So, yeah, on the rivet, descending at an absolute level that was just, well, we see what Tom Pidcock does, nowadays.
Even Poggy now is almost to that level now of descending. So
Yeah.
him and Vingegaard are pretty,
Right.
they go blow for blow. Yeah, it's crazy.
like in that final time trial this year on the tour, Poggy was doing 90k an hour down the descent on a TT bike.
Yeah, I know.
Could you
Yeah,
imagine?
90K.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
He's already won the
Can you
tour.
imagine Wayne going 90k's down north?
Yeah,
He's won
Yeah.
the tour by 7 minutes and he's still taking those risks.
yeah, I know. I think the DS was unhappy. It would have been really unhappy
Oh, you've been
with
pissed
that.
though.
Yeah, the DS would have been saying, slow down. You're going to kill yourself,
Yeah.
slow down. So you definitely, the thing you learn most is, your ability to handle a bike in the Pro Tour is definitely next level, but you see them crashing all the time. They take it to the limit.
What do you think there's one thing that fans or people outside the sport don't realise about cycling?
Well, that actually is quite monotonous and can be quite boring. It's quite monotonous and boring life where you're with a small group of people living in a bubble.
Yeah.
You live in a bubble far removed from reality.
Yeah.
That's hard for a lot of the riders that have been in as a pro for 12 or 15 years. They really struggle with normal life. So you live in an isolated bubble where all you do is ride because people carry a suitcase and every day you get a piece of paper. Well, back in our day it was a piece of paper. Now it's a WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And then your whole day, your whole life is just
Set out
written
for you.
down.
Yeah.
And all you do is read what you have to do each day so that the world of a Pro Tour cyclist, if you have a choice, you definitely choose a different sport to be professional. It's just too grueling. There's no night clubbing for us. There's a couple I can call, but 95% of us, there's no clubbing. It's in bed at 9 o'clock. You're up at 6. It's a grind. It's a grind, and it's not just the training now. It's you spend a lot of time at masseur. You get massages every day, but you live in a bubble. It can be monotonous and boring, and you're always almost getting injured or you're recovering from crashes. So there's always skin off somewhere from the crashes, and then you're kind of happy if you have like a few months of not having skin off. Because so I mean, of all the professional sports, there are a lot more
Easier sports out there.
Yeah, it
that's
is
for sure.
tough. It's hard. Like
Yeah.
the guys out there, they earn every dollar. It's grueling. Like I'm glad my son didn't pursue the sport. And
big time.
it's just a grind. It's grind, but no regrets, and it was an enjoyable time.
Yeah. Awesome. I think if I would pick, I'd be a punter in the NFL
Yeah.
You just step up and kick a ball and then go
and get
sit
paid a
down.
couple million a year for that. It's pretty good. Pretty
And
good life.
our skin folds are always have to be around 7%, 6%. You look at some professional athletes, and they take their t-shirt off, and
How
you
are you a professional?
they take the t-shirt off, and you go, you got to be kidding me! Like we take a t-shirt off. Well, obviously we're like anorexic, which is not good. There are eating disorders in the sport.
100%.
I mean, but we're carrying 5-6% body fat. We look like a malnutritioned athlete, but some sports that just like we'll
I
consider
think about cricket in
overweight.
the 80s and 90s, like David Byrne and stuff. Actually, I do know his son, and he's an
He was a
absolute
picture
rig.
of an athlete.
But yeah, like it's wild. It's crazy. It's
cool.
Very cool. Well, thank you. That's
amazing.
It's been some awesome stories. Been surrounded by a lot of very just small names in general.
Yeah.
Who was the best you saw
Yeah, actually.
in your era?
Yeah, because I was kind of in that era where there weren't many Australians pro at the time. There were only like 4 guys pro.
Yeah.
So there weren't many. Like at the Tour de France, there maybe 2 of us.
Yeah.
Like I think the first tour I did was Phil Anderson and Neil Stevens.
Yep.
So that's just to show you
Sheriff.
a few. But I think Miguel Indurain. But to be honest, racing the Tour de France with Greg LeMond, who was a 3-time Tour de France winner, and then also riding with I was in that generation. Also rode with Laurent Fignon, who was a big name in French cycling. And these guys, they had this class about them. I think back in the day, some of these guys were just classy. A lot of gel in their hair. They had the sunnies, no helmet. And they just looked like,
Rock stars.
rock stars.
Kings, yeah.
So,
Picture of Fignon on my wall at home.
Yeah.
but yeah, the most amazing athlete, obviously Miguel Indurain from Spain,
Yeah.
the extraterrestrial,
Just a freak.
5 times.
freak,
winner.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which Podjagar's looking like eliminating. Hey,
That's crazy.
Wow.
They're both freaks.
it's become a genetic sport today. It's just a game of genetics. Olympic Games is a game of genetics, and they're able to identify that at a young age, and
Mm.
you're getting all these incredible athletes.
Yep.
Mm.
Very good. Thank you for that, Pat.
What have we got? Have we got some notable mentions this week?
We do.
We got the
We've got some-
podcast luck again.
Actually, it's
Yes.
continuing. So overnight, we had young Tate. He won gold in the Junior Worlds in the sprint. He raced the Kieran earlier on during the week, but he missed the final. We also had young Spaghetti Slapper.
I was just going to say Spaghetti Slapper with just a lazy world record.
who smashed
Yeah.
the IP 3K Junior World Record. He
Yeah.
rode a 3:04, which is just mind blowing for a junior. Like back in the day, Bradley McGee was riding 3:19s, so it's like 16 seconds quicker.
He took a few
Um,
tenths off, didn't he?
He took 3 seconds off of it.
3 seconds.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he got a bit carried away in the final and went out. He was 3 seconds up after 2K and he lost by 0.008 of a second in the final. So he runs second, still obviously awesome.
Yeah.
And then we also got Liani Vandenberg. She qualified third in the women's IP, so she's through to the semi. So that's on tonight, I believe.
How good.
And also Tay is again on tonight with the kilo, so tipped to beat the world record for the kilo.
Do you know what the
tonight.
junior world record is?
I think he's got to go sub 1 minute. Yeah.
For
So,
juniors.
Yeah, for juniors.
That is wild.
So,
So we
yeah.
were talking yesterday about so I wouldn't say that it's a curse, but like junior world, people who win junior worlds. I reckon Will be hungry, and I reckon that
He'll be angry.
it'll help him going
Yeah.
in life. Yeah,
We said that as well. There's a curse.
yeah. It's like the
Also, a
brain.
good opportunity for Tay as well with our mate Matthew Richardson going back to Great Britain. So there is a spot open in the team sprint team now for the Worlds, and they're in a few weeks' time. So
You can imagine
hopefully Tay might be there.
the energy that he had here when he was on the pod. If he got that call, hey,
Yeah.
Oh my
he
God.
would be blown
Yeah.
away.
Well, I'd say he'll go to the training camp after Junior Worlds. So
Hell yes.
So,
Awesome.
yes. Very
Very good. Shall we jump into it?
Let's jump into it, Kashi.
Awesome. The main reason why we exist. So let's see who's been spinning up the summit, not jumping, this week, and check out the times for the folks who have been giving us a show. It might be the fast guys, it might be the slow ones, it might be everyone in between. So like we said, we'll dive into their rides and data a little bit more robustly, and we'll see who and what has caught our eyes on the leaderboards with some hand-picked times for some fun analysis. And I do have a hand-pick.
You do have a
I mean, it's a bit of a group because I was feeling all warm and fuzzy yesterday. So,
Oh, yeah.
Pat, you're going to kick off with the fastest man and woman for the week.
Yeah, well, the fastest man of the week.
Oh, my God. Just
yeah.
lazy one.
Do I say by the real name?
No, fake.
Can't say the real name.
Oh, wow. Mr. Consistent.
well
Mr.
done.
Consistent has the fastest time up Norton Summit, 13 minutes, 32 seconds, 453 watts. Average. That's really, really impressive. And what we look at is VAM, the vertical ascension measured. That's what we always look at, VAM. So VAM of 1,230 meters per hour. That would put you in the second group of the Tour de France.
I was just going to say,
Not the
what
first.
you said off air, that was really cool to hear.
Yeah,
So-
second group Tour de France.
Yeah.
Mr. Consistent can do that for 45 minutes, he'll be in the second group Tour de France.
I'd be happy on that. I'd be happy to be in the second group of the tour.
Love it. And what about fastest woman?
And the fastest woman, Wahooligan.
She's back.
Really?
she's back.
What a name, Wahooligan. So the Wahooligan is the fastest woman in 14 minutes and 58 seconds, 270 watts of power. It's still a very respectable VAM. So we're not just looking at time. We look at vertical ascension and 1,100 meters. She did that in the Tour de France. You'd be not in a gruppetto. You'll be in front of the gruppetto. So that's pretty good. You'll be like fourth group. So that's pretty good effort if you continue that on for 45 minutes.
How good is that?
I love this.
She can do that
It's
as
not
well.
a wild PB too, so at 13:22, almost a minute and a half quicker than what she's been. So she can go harder.
Should be up there.
Yeah.
I love that.
She's. I've got a similar story to you with her. When we were going up Aldgate Valley Road, there was a few of us that were chopping flat out, and we couldn't drop her.
Yeah,
So, and we got in the top 10 segment for the men, and she took the women's comm, but we couldn't drop her. So
Yeah, it's funny, you know, if you put out a particular amount of power and there's some unknown cycle tourist or someone with sand shoes on and they're still there, then hey, there's something going on.
yeah.
The thing I find when that happens these days is you got to look down and see if they've got a motor on their bike. He's like,
Like an
e-bike. Oh.
Yeah, there were a lot of e-bikes in Europe this year.
Yeah, crazy. Alex,
All right, the men
what do we
this week. Number one, dried asparagus has run a 13:47, working at 315 watts, 173 beats per minute.
good to see him on the summit.
How's his PB?
Oh, rapid PB.
12:02 is his
Oh, he's so close to sub 12.
Yep. Second place, 14:01, Mr. Filsma, also with a 12-minute 41 PB. No other heart rate data or power.
No, he just got nothing.
Third off the ranks, Madam Ducks of Quackenbush has... Did they get a PR? No.
No, they didn't get a PR.
Close.
Shy of a PR, just 9 seconds from a PR. 14:06. Fourth place, Jim Doesn't Carry with a 14:07, 294
Also
watts.
close to.
Yeah.
Their PBs are the same.
178 beats per minute, so working. And lastly, for the men, Fig Jam has run a 14:16, 360 watts average.
Just
132 beats per minute.
I know, right?
Nicely done, men.
What do you got, Mr.
All right.
Mr.
So
Tyro?
for the women, we have with a time of 15:24, 278 watts, 162 beats per minute. We have Cactus back on top.
Good to start out.
We then have this young lady again on the leaderboard for the last 3 weeks in a row. R2DI2. I've got it right
She's
this
looking
week.
bloody fit at the moment, can I just say?
She is fit, very fit. She's pulled out a time of 16:49, so actually not that much slower than her PB. 236 watts. That was that yesterday after chop?
Yeah,
wasn't it?
we saw her coming. I was coming down when she was going up. I think she was just nose breathing. Just easy.
Yeah, that's right. We then have Ruby Red Flamingo with a time of 19:17. Is it not a PR? No.
No, PR.
Okay.
No PR.
215 watts, just cruising. Probably talking a bit of trash
Just
with
cruise-
the uni
just
student.
cruising, that's it.
Then we have Ginger Ninja, 1948. No data for this girl. And then Bank Robbie with a time of 20:52, 212 watts, 171 beats per minute.
Lovely. A hand
Cashy,
pick.
you got a hand pick.
Oh, well, it was such a lovely day yesterday.
It was a beautiful
And
day.
we went up the summit with a lovely bunch of people.
You did?
So shout out to Chicken Burger Connoisseur and Epstein.
No, sawn off.
Sawn-off. Sorry. For their lovely pace. It was, I think we just averaged about 280, 270 watts.
It was a sub 20. It was lovely, wasn't it?
It was a sub, yeah, it was like
sub 19,
1850 or something.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was funny when I said we got to Glen Stewart Road, and I was like, I'm 40 seconds down on my PB when we got to
I
Glen
think everyone
Stewart
was
Road.
like, it's all right, Matthew. Everything is okay.
Yeah.
Not every day is a race.
Speaking of, if we want a PB,
Yes.
what's the best day?
Wang's weather brought to you by Bikey Wipes. Probably going to be tomorrow if the rain holds off. Who knows with the bomb whether they've got a ride or not. But
Pooking it out of the bag.
yeah, they are at the moment. There'll be some nice westerly, so nice straight tail wind tomorrow. Any time from 8:30 onwards, 20k an hour westerly. So, and probably going to be like that most of the week. So hop out, and if you get a PB, slide into our DMs.
Hop out. I like what you did there.
Yeah, good one.
Power.
We've got a couple of things going on this week in SA, which is cool. We've on the 28th of August, we've got a Winter Wednesday at Adelaide Superdrome, so that's in conjunction with South Coast Cycling. So it'll be a bit of a mixed bag of races. So if you've got a track bike, doesn't matter if you do sprint or endurance, just get out there. I may even get out there.
Really?
Maybe. If work aligns, we'll be right. On the 29th, we've got a motor pace session at Hanson Road. So you can take a track or a road bike out there. So they'll have separate groups for track and road bikes. So get out there. That's a good little one. I think it's pretty cheap there as well. So as long as you got a license, get amongst it. On the 1st, it's Father's Day. On the 1st of September,
Yes.
got a BMX State Series at the Copper Coast. Also on Father's Day, Thunder in Tanunda. You heading out there, Wayne?
I haven't nommed yet. I'm just waiting to see the weather.
Okay. PACC.
I'm not going all over there to get wet.
Not very good numbers yet. It'd be good to see
Oh.
more people get involved.
I did hear a rumour they were talking about cancelling
I
it.
hear that too, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the numbers aren't that bad. I've had a look on Entry Boss and they looked
job.
okay.
well, people, entryboss.cc, get amongst Thunder in Tanunda this weekend. The following week, we will have an RDO this week coming. So the following week, 4th of September, general track training at the Adelaide Superdrome. On Saturday, the following Saturday, which is the 7th of September, we have Mount Gambier putting on a winter track
This
series.
is their round
Yep.
4, yep.
Round
Super
4.
cool. At the Superdrome, which is awesome. And lastly, on Sunday the 8th, we have an individual time trial, Club Champs, Adelaide Masters, Cookie Club putting that on.
Same weekend as Super Series.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, shit, it's only 2 weeks away.
You did
Yes.
put Super Series on there.
Oh, Super Series on there,
Super
the
Series
bend.
on the bend, Sunday the 8th.
Can you not rip my legs off in the time trial, please?
That was a real chamoy.
Oh, God.
All right, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, all creatures in between. Pat, big thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thanks for having me.
If the listeners, if you've enjoyed yourself too, please give us a follow through your favourite podcast app or access our episodes through YouTube as well. Please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and don't forget to tell all your friends and share it with everyone.
We also would love your feedback, and we'll give you updates, info, and let you know when new episodes are. Oh my God, I can't even talk today. This is great.
Okay, take your time.
Along with other podcast news and information. And if you'd like to talk and support the podcast, head to Buy Me a Coffee page. And if you donate, we'll give you a shout out on the podcast next week.
They would love your feedback and to know your thoughts. So hit us up and let's have a chat through our Facebook or Instagram page or shoot through something to our email, radelaidesummit@gmail.com.
And with that, what sits on the bottom of the sea and twitches? It's a nervous wreck. See you out the sun this week.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.